biggest lie told to veterans when it comes to VA rating, the Nexus letter. A clinical absurdity how good of a psyop these organizations have done. That's published. You can look that up. Taking 30% of a veteran's back pay is absolutely absurd. We built this machine to take in what you have going on, to go through and find the ways that it can be connected to service. Oh, we got some good comments here. The Nexus tangent. Banish wants to know about the Nexus tangent. He asked for that earlier, so I will oblige. A-Rod says, can you explain a little about your services, goals to use medical journals? So I'll kind of tackle both at once, right? This market, right, has existed in all perpetuity. What this market did is it realized that like VSOs exist, and the VA then is going to have this like crazy accreditation mechanism, right? And the accreditation mechanism is like simpler than a driver's license test. It's not like a complex thing. It's an open book. It's a wazi, it's a woozy, it's fugazi.
Fairy dust.
What these guys did to differentiate themselves is they said, well, we're going to take 30% of your back pay or 6x the increase that you get, right? That's what all of our competitors do. And we're going to send you to this in-network doctor that we pay, and you're going to talk to them, and they're going to replace the CMP exam. And for a while, this flew by night, and it worked wonders with the VA, right? It did great. But at the end of the day, what ended up happening in the mid-2000s, 2015 on, is the VA was like, it's kind of bullshit. We think you're bullshit. And the VA had every right to do so, because there's no way that these in-network doctors got to review the STRs. And how do they know that? Because the STRs were never requested, right? It's common sense. And then furthermore, the medical opinion that's written is written by a doctor that the veteran's only seen once, doesn't live anywhere near them, and will never see again, right? So there's no history or continuity of care provided within these things, which is very important. When I built this company, I realized that taking 30% of a veteran's back pay is absolutely absurd. Now, admittedly, I don't hate on them prior to the advent of the computer. But truth be told, with the technology that's available to us today, what I did is I looked at this and I was like, there's a 0% chance that I can't build a more efficient, more effective, more robust, more thorough company than these guys and charge 1/10 the price. And that's what I'm going to do. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't, well, you know what? I guess I lose some money and I'll go build something else, right? That's how I've set my life up, is I build things and it either works or doesn't. And here we are a year later, and we are by volume helping more veterans per month than any of the competitors who have been doing this for 10 plus years. We comprise roughly 1 to 3% of the monthly claims that are filed to the VA. And that's pretty insane to think about, right? Needless to say, what I built has worked and does work very, very well. It's the most effective mechanism that there is out there, and I'll stand on business with that because I've got the data to do so. That's the context. That's the base layer, the foundation to this story. So the next piece of the pie here, right? Let's dig into the biggest lie told to veterans when it comes to VA ratings, and that is the Nexus letter. It's a clinical absurdity how good of a psyop these organizations have done. Because there's been no one like me that's just like, nope, you're full of like, which is surprising given the veteran community, right? But I mean, hey, it is what it is. I came here and that's what I said and that's what I've done and it worked. Now, why are they full of shit? Well, because they promulgated this myth that like you need a Nexus letter, first of all. And they treated the Nexus letter as if it was this like piece of doctrine, like it was a 526, like it's a recognized form by the VA. And the truth be told, if you go into 38 CFR, which is the federal law that guides and regulates how the VA adjudicates claims, right? And if you go into M21-1, which is like the policy side of things, the internal side of things of how the VA adjudicates claims, makes these decisions, so on and so forth, the processes, etc. Right? It's all their policies. If you Control F Nexus letter, it doesn't fucking exist. Like it doesn't exist. Point blank, period, simple. That phrase does not exist in either of those documents. And those are the only two documents that matter. Genuinely. When it comes to the VA claims process, there are not any other two documents that govern or dictate how the claim is adjudicated, handled, or processed. End. Point blank, period, simple. I cannot overstate that part enough. So what did I do? I said, well, what what is this? What are they achieving by making vets pay all this money to go to an external doc? A doc is saying it's as likely as not that something's service connected. Like that's a half ass. It's a half and an ass opinion, right? It's not even a half ass. It's astounding. So I was like, okay, well, the VA has already put out a law. They published it last year, and they said that, hey, we're going to be taking down the public DPQs because we don't believe that private practitioners can actually do them to the standard that we hold. That's published. You can look that up. They did it last year, right? And the VA has already started taking some of the things down. So what do, right? Well, you prove it. And instead of doing the bare minimum standard of proof that the VA is put out there of, hey, it's as likely as not, instead of writing a document that says, pretty good chance, good enough, right? Instead of writing a document that says that and hoping some random doc in a box does the thing, what we do is we built an LLM predicated upon the core data sets, the past 20 years of published peer-reviewed medical journals, right? Then you add in a whole bunch of intelligence gathering that we had to do. And I'm talking like base housing reports from different bases at different times, air quality reports, water reports, anything and everything, right? Agent Orange dumping ground reports. Like there is some hyper obscure shit that we have in our database that will get you service connected, right? We built this machine to take in what you have going on, and then we empower our team, which is trained, to go through and find the ways that it can be connected to service. And the strongest of those ways, right? That is what we leverage in the Nexus letter. So if that's 2 peer-reviewed medical journals plus anything else, right? Like plus an exposure or plus there's so many different ways that it could stack up, right? But there's peer-reviewed medical journals, there's case laws, or anything and everything in between, right? And there's, of course, also 38 CFR and M21-1, which we will leverage against the VA and hold them to their own standard in almost every single document that we produce. So all this goes to say our Nexus letters work. If they didn't work, we would not be here, right? So that being said, right, the VSO who says you can't send it as is because he hasn't done his own research. He hasn't read the documents that actually dictate how the VA works, which I'm going to be honest with you, Banished. I'm never going to encourage anybody to abandon a VSO because I just don't think that's necessarily the right thing for me to do. But I'm going to tell you this. If someone calls themselves a veteran service officer and they have not read 38 CFR M21-1, pretty much assholes to armpits on this, like, what are they doing? What are they doing? And truth be told, they get paid a pittance. They get paid like 20, 30K, right? To sit there and sit in a courthouse all day, which has to be depressing, and listen to veterans complain. It's not enough money, and they don't have the proper tools, and they're not incentivized to be hyper educated. So that's the Nexus question. I hope that's helpful, Banished. Julie Riggs, thank you for the comment, says hypertension. What STR evidence do I need? I have a bunch of 160/90 measurements, but no in-service diagnosis. Is that enough? You have a current diagnosis and continuity. I don't have the hypertension numbers off my head, but that sounds like you would qualify. Without an in-service diagnosis, I mean, you wouldn't necessarily need an in-service diagnosis, but you would need a way to connect it to service, right? I hate to say that would be something that we'd have to really evaluate stronger. If you're saying that you have those measurements from in-service and they're in an STR, I would say that's a pretty strong backing that this was occurring while you were in. Derek Schultz denied my claim for GERD based on service connection. Question is, can my wife write a support letter as a buddy letter? We got married while I was still in. Derek Schultz, she can, but I would encourage you to look at the schedule of ratings for GERD because it's the GERD ratings got more difficult and they changed. So you might have gotten denied, but it also might only be a 0. So it really depends on your whole VA claim picture. Are you already close to being 100%? Like, do you need this rating? Are you just trying to get it at a 0? Because if you're just trying to get it at a 0, then my answer to your question is yes. But if you're actually trying to count on this for a rating increase, I would I would advise you look at the new schedule ratings for GERD. And you can drop a comment here if you're unsure how to do that. I'll be happy to dig it up for you. But in essence, it's pretty hard to get an actual rating for GERD now. Kevin McMillan submitted the next letter you guys provided. Where I got denied. Kevin McMillan, denials happen for all sorts of reasons, right? No single thing is a bullet, right? You can get denied for a lack of service connection. You can get denied for a lack of diagnosis. The most famous one, of course, is sleep apnea, right? Like you could literally fall asleep in front of the CMP examiner and start, failing to breathe and having arousals, whatever. CMP examiner wouldn't give a shit. In fact, you probably won't even get a CMP exam for it because there's nothing they're going to do without a sleep study. So my team will get you squared away with a battle plan, and then you just have to execute on that, man. And we'll get you going. I need to check this service out because after last HLR, yeah, and that's another thing, Maurice, is like in general, HLRs and VBA claims, like it's for the birds. It's just a waste of time. In my personal opinion, unless you spotted a place where the VA made a clear, unmistakable error years ago and they owe you a money. But if it's not that situation, doing a supplemental is a more effective route than an HLR. Can you claim the same secondary even if it is denied by an HLR? Denial by an HLR doesn't mean anything. HLR is only going to review if the VA made a clear and unmistakable error in the case, which they probably didn't. They might have, but probably didn't. It's not, you're not banned from claiming it again. Now, I have seen people expend all of their free wishes with the VA. Like, I mean, we've seen some other who, like, someone had a letter, and I wish I had saved it because I think I rolled over laughing too hard reading it. It's from the VA, and they're like, "Sir, you can't claim this anymore. Like, you can't. It's not going to happen. No way." How? And I forget what the context around it was, but it was pretty hilarious. The guy was clearly full of shit. He wanted us to help him, and we're like, dude, we're here to help vets, not help people lie about that. That doesn't work like that. The big thing that differentiates us, I covered this at the beginning of this call or this live, but what I want to put out there to you, right? The biggest difference, because not everybody needs this. I'm going to be honest. If you're like 90% there and you're like, I don't really need help with it, right? I just have a few questions. Well, then come to the live, man. I'll try to hook you up. But the people who do need us, right, or want us, they want a luxury service, or they need us to get where they need to go. The differentiator between us and anything else that exists out there, right? One, we're not going to take 30% of your back pay or 6x increase. We have that $1,250 cost. It's one time. That's it. I'm not going to ask for more money in vetclaims.ai. It's not going to happen. That being said, we have the most thorough process to identify the things that you can be claiming and help you understand that. And then to go forward, we then prepare you thoroughly for the CMP exams, right, at a time that makes sense for you. Once you get your CMP exam scheduled, you request and you get to book a time. So your CMP exam is on Tuesday the 22nd. You can have your prep call with my team Monday the 21st. Amen to it, right? Or even the morning of Tuesday the 22nd. It can be as fresh as you want it to be. And then we have the support team who sticks through with you the entire way. And then if something doesn't go your way and you need the appeals team, we're going to help you understand why something got denied, what you need to do on your end to rectify it. And then once you do, right, if it's going to a doctor, if it's getting a prescription, if it's getting a buddy letter, a statement, something like that. And then we're going to run it up, dude. And we're going to get you where you need to go because we don't leave anybody behind. And we never have as a company. In the entire time that we've had this money back guarantee, there has not been a single instance of it being used or requested. Like, it's not like we deny it. I wouldn't, right? That would reputationally suck for me, right? That guarantee exists because I stand on business that if we can't help you, right, I owe you $500 for taking your time. I wish you the best, right? That's never happened, and God willing, it never will. Because not because I'm scared of losing $500, but because to me, I want to help veterans get this process done and put it behind them so they can move on to live the life they want to live.